All right, so welcome back into another live stream today. We're going to jump into Bitcoin, and has the market hit the bottom? We'll debate that today with Evan. It's going to be fun. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. All right, Evan, let's get to it.
Great to be here. So yeah, there's some indications that show a bottom, other indications that don't. I personally lean a little bit more towards the side that we haven't hit a bottom, because my main prediction has been September, October is what I've been looking at. And the main thing on my chart that I want to show you guys first is the 16-day. I want to look at some time frames that nobody looks at, like the 16-day. And I think it can give us a little bit of an edge here. So if you look at the 16-day, what has historically showed the bottom here has been these green dots. This was, a month after the bottom, February 2015. This was a month or two after the bottom, February 2019. Mm-hmm. And then we're curving up with this VWAP right here. This is what it shows us getting that green dot. So this would be an indication that we have a little bit more to kind of come down if it plays out more like 2014, just a few more months. We're kind of in the area of a few months of where the VWAP, see the VWAP, it's curving up here, but we got a couple more months, like November, 2-3 more months, July, August, September, October, around that area. And then the decrease there, let's map it out from the bottom there, about 44% from the local low. So about 44%. It could be a little less than that. 44% down from 17K isn't going to be a fun number, but 9K, 10K.
Yeah.
It could be about half of that too, because the market cap is a lot larger now. It's a different time. 13, 12K. You also have to look at that. If we look at our 10-day too, which is very interesting right now, the 10-day, you're about to get that green dot right here. Mm-hmm. This historically has been the bottom, a deep green dot in the 10-day right there. That was the bottom in that market cycle. This one was the bottom here, but the thing is we're not in the red yet. We're up here with the money flow. So it could be like November, we just got a few more months is my main view. That's kind of both debates here. The weekly would be kind of a case, if you compare it to last time, like the bottom this time, see money flow, and you're getting the green dot. We're getting this rare bullish case, and we'll talk about what that could give us in the short term. I could see us coming up to 24K. I compare this dot, not like this one over here, not the bottom in January 2015, but like October 2014, where you came up a little bit, you rallied up in total.
Before the drop.
Yeah, you rallied up in total 64%. It was really choppy there, and we're due for a choppy summer. I think it's going to be last summer where it's choppy, where it may go to 20K. Everybody says, no, it's going lower. Then it goes up to 24. No, it's going to 30K. Yeah. Like that. That's what I'm kind of thinking here. So
yeah. I was looking at a couple of articles as we were kind of diving into the research side of this things, when it comes to Bitcoin, a lot of it is looking at the longer term aspect of this. Now you've got a couple of analysts kind of going into this 30% by October, put us around 28K. Some of this still, again, looking at the TA side of things as opposed to the macroeconomic side of things, because I'm still looking at it from a stance of we've still got a lot of pressures. Most likely we'll have CPI numbers still printing hard against us.
That's why I'm a little bit more bearish still. Yeah.
Very well could see interest rates continuing to go up, even though next week we'll know if we're going to get a 7.5 or maybe even stronger. I'm still kind of leaning that we might get a 1 over there. Then you have this situation right here. You got Mt. Gox recovering 142,000, almost 142,000 Bitcoin could be dumped into the market. If that were to happen, Evan, if you took 142,000 Bitcoin and dropped it into the market right now, what do you feel like that would do? Because this is going to be an interesting aspect.
That's a white swan event. I mean, that would definitely, I would give that at least like a double bottom at like 17K or something. You know what I mean? That could really dump us down. It's not, as far as I know, it's not 100% that will happen though. It's more of just, a rumor. So let's keep that. Let's hope that doesn't happen so far. But yeah, that could be rough. I mean, if you look at the technicals a little bit, I want to show the people more of a kind of a short-term perspective with some split RSIs. And we haven't talked about this too much. And this is really powerful in bear markets to kind of catch local tops. I want you to look right here, split RSI. This marked a bottom. See how the purple, and then when it curves down, we're seeing that right now. That's a bit more bearish. You do have money flow crossover into the green here. Money's coming in. However, same exact thing right here. Now, you got to be careful though shorting right now, because we're going into a weekend. There's high volume. I wouldn't be surprised at all if something like this happens, where you get one or two more wicks up just to get everybody away, get everybody shorting away,
pop.
and then, you know what I mean? Those FOMO longs up there. I've seen it happen in my time so many times in the weekends. You always get weird stuff like that.
This is a good tweet right here. If it's not rocket science, Bitcoin drops 85% every bear market, so 85% drop on the ATH obviously would stick us in the 9 to 11K. Now, a lot of people we've talked about this over the last few weeks is, could we see the 14K range? That's kind of my number because of the difference in kind of the market capacity itself, but also just the overall essence of where Bitcoin is and in general cryptocurrencies. But if we look at the hard numbers on how the trends could continue to flow through the summer, and we get past midterms, we get past possibly the real pressure of macro, and let's just assume that we're on the other side of midterms now. We're in November. We've got a little bit of relief on maybe not as many hard prints on new interest rates. In other words, maybe we're down to a quarter basis point or we go flat in a monthly move. What do you feel that would do overall to Bitcoin in the fall?
Okay, so if that happens, you're talking about after midterms, I think in all likelihood, bullish.
We'll see the
I think you see, especially if you're seeing 12K or 10K or even 14K by then, very, very bullish. High likelihood that you would come back and, I think 2023 will be a nice accumulation year. You may rally up to even 40K, maybe even 50K. Then you'll come back. It's choppy. That's really what we've seen similar to 2019. So it's a great accumulation.
It's a good trader's market.
It is a very good trader's market. I'm long right now, so I've been doing pretty well in those for the most part.
Another tweet right here. Mount Gox started repayment process. This is actually started of the process for 150,000. Let me zoom in on that for you guys a little bit. Make sure, by the way, get your questions in over on the sidebar. We're going to take a few of those toward the end of the live stream today and try to answer a few things. But remember when Luna sold 80,000 Bitcoin, it crashed 36%. Now, was that really the case? We talked about this in the pit for a little bit, and I feel like when Luna crashed Bitcoin, it was more of a scenario of the faith of the market got questioned.
Right.
It wasn't about the strength of Bitcoin. It was about the faith in the market. We have been duped. We had an algorithmic stable coin that absolutely was a Ponzi, and it occurred. Now you think, all right, well, wait a minute. We've got 150 clean Bitcoin coming into the space. Obviously could be sold at around the 21,000 price. Imagine the people that were holding that Bitcoin all that time.
Oh, yeah.
Where they bought that.
It's a white swan event. Maybe not a black swan, but it's a white swan event. It's hard to say what would happen with that. We don't have enough. We have the Terra Luna thing that obviously brought it down a lot. Like you said, that was the overall state of the market was pretty bad then. This, I could see it forming kind of a double bottom pattern at 17K. That's my guess, but your guess is as good as mine with that. We'll see.
I got a question for you. Would you, going back to this tweet right here, would you hold had you been in a position of $320 for a Bitcoin?
Oh, man.
That's what those holders are setting on.
Man.
150,000 of those are sitting at 320.
Well, it depends how much they have. If it's just one Bitcoin, well, yeah. I mean, if it's a full Bitcoin, yeah, a lot of people would probably sell it. Yeah, I would.
Sell it, yeah.
Or at least part of it.
Fear and greed up a little bit. We actually are outside of the range where we had been dipping, as you can kind of see. Yesterday was 18. Last week it was 11. What do you think about that? I mean, now we've got so much positive sentiment. Also, if you look at our CPI numbers, and let's take a look quickly at Bitcoin, and you've got all this trend moving up with market, are we potentially in a bull trap right now?
Yes, potentially. There is a good point. The thing I want to show you guys too on the charts is this 6-day, and this is, some people wouldn't take this too seriously because you're going all the way back to 2014, but that's really the only market that's. The 2013, 2014 market was way more similar to this cycle than last cycle. And look what happened with this green dot. We have that same green dot in the 6-day. It looks very similar right now here. You got some green, hike and ashy candles. And we had a green hike and ashy candle yesterday for a second. If you come up maybe a few $100s more, this will turn green. Yeah. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Once this confirms in 3 days, I could see it going down. Also with the split RSIs, what I want to show you, especially on the 10-day, what we were looking at, it could easily be, this is the most bearish case with all the dump Bitcoin. Oh man, 45. Let's see, 45% downward, 12K, big point. We do have the 300 weekly moving average at 16K. I think shy of a white swan event, you would have a nice reaction off of there. So I don't think 12K is very likely unless this big FUD piece really turns out to have the heat that people are thinking it has.
And again, you look at the rainbow chart. I mean, here we are in literally no man's land, basically fire sale right now. We got there, of course, in 2020. You kind of sneaked in there in 2018, and obviously we skirted this area for quite some time from really around 2014 and 2015 all the way into 2017 before we started to see our move up. So with that being the case, do you feel like we're at the bottom?
I would, my gut instinct says that even if we are at the bottom right now, if you're waiting 3 or 4 months to buy for, more confirmations to happen, especially the 16-day green dot that I was talking about, wait for this green dot to confirm when it appears, you're not missing on much. My main recommendation, this is never financial advice, but if you don't have a full Bitcoin right now and you have the opportunity to possibly get a full Bitcoin, I think it's a great idea. But at the same time, it also would be a great idea to buy in a few months once you have more bullish confirmations on Market Cipher. You got time, is what I will say. You have time.
Yeah, a little bit of movement. Something that I've been doing, guys, is, and I think you follow us, if you're in our mastermind group, you kind of know where my trades are, what we're doing internally, is been buying in at that 19 zone. Now, we just did a trade this morning at 22, or just yesterday at 22. So we dumped a couple of those 19 coins onto the market at 22. Now, we could see a little bit of a rise here into 24 with continuing positive sentiment into the weekend. That'll be the big question. We're going to have a poll here that I want to get you guys' opinion on whether or not we get 24 or back down to 19 first. Kind of your question of whether or not that will happen. If you look at the overall trends here, Bitcoin price building its best weekly candle since March. Despite the DXY peak. So again, back on kind of the overall trend of where this is going, it is looking pretty solid that we could still see a little bit of a long here play out. Definitely. You said you're in a long right now?
So I'm in 2 longs, an ETH long and a Bitcoin long that I've had. There's swing longs I've kept in for a while. I took some major profits though, since we're hitting major support right now. My next big places to look to take profits are this next spider line at, these are 2 huge places, 23K, this is a big spider line. And then this pocket, kind of between this big fib level, 24K, is a big place. So these 2 places are huge. And that's when, like I was talking about with this 6-day, when the Heiken Ashy candle turns green, it would be around there. It would be nice green. And so I think we could close, this confirms in 3 days. So that would be the end of the weekend by the time this confirms. We could still have somewhat of a bullish weekend, maybe come up a bit more. And then after that closes, kind of reject from 24K. The natural way price moves is you're not going to just shoot up to 28K, in a few weeks, most likely. You could shoot up there maybe by the end of next month or something like that, but you're going to have some pullbacks here and there.
Yeah. We've seen a little bit of movement here, guys, within the altcoins as well. We just did an AVAX trade this week. We did a Matic trade. Again, knowing when to get out of these, even though AVAX has been holding and jumping above now, I think 20, exited that one in 19. Just be aware of this tweet right here. We could see this going parabolic, Bitcoin going up a bit and people getting euphoric, calling 40K, and then you start to swing into these altcoins, and then we get a strong rejection, and some of these altcoins are going to see some pretty bad reaction times, especially whether you're looking at AVAX, Solana, Cardano. Some of the big guys, I think, will suffer from a major pullback on this. So it's still a very iffy position right now, at least in my opinion, of where this may be going. Long-term question on July as a whole. Let's talk about July and August.
That's interesting. Yeah, what I would say first, this is an important point. We've had, I believe, 4 red months in a row here. If we have a red July, there'll be 5 red months in a row. That's the tied with the record. The most it's ever been is 5 months. If you look at how it was in 2014, it was 4 red months, and then July worked out kind of like November 2014, I believe, where it was barely green a little bit, and then you had 1 more red month, and then you bottomed out. So that's what I'm kind of leaning toward, maybe July, and it won't take much for July to be a green month. I'm just looking at this right now. I mean, what price do we have to get up to? It's 23, 24K, I think. It's not very high at all,
And we're right there. I mean, we are definitely on the cusp. Make sure and drop your questions in over on the side right there. Let's take a quick look at Ethereum. The rainbow price chart is showing also Ethereum right down here in the basement on fire sale. We've seen this dip below fire sale level, but this was back in 2020 when we saw it at $100. Woo. Are we at that fire sale right now around this $1,000 point right now? Or do you feel like Ethereum could bust through and go sub 1,000 again?
You know, we might be at the bottom, but the thing is, what's most likely going to happen is, if you look, I want to show you guys, this is really important to look at. A lot of people don't look at this. Ethereum, Bitcoin, this chart right here. Look at the weekly on Ethereum, Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Awful. You know, money flow crossover into the red right there. Even look at the monthly money flow crossover into the red. Even if it is the bottom, you're better off to buy Bitcoin right now and then wait 6 months and trade it into Ethereum then, and you could possibly double your Ethereum position with that. So
that's a good strategy. I like that.
100%.
Go in on the Bitcoin, then come out and take on Ethereum back in.
Because even if it is the bottom, if it doesn't outperform Bitcoin in the next 6 months, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you need it. There was a time when Ethereum was outperforming Bitcoin.
Right.
And we did see that as the better trade. But to your point, if you do look at a swap trade down the I think Bitcoin is still at this point. And again, it does give you time also for ETH2 for that merge to occur, because we'll see a lot of FOMO and a lot of activity coming in. Another thing to be aware of, guys, right now is Tether liquidated its loan with Celsius Network without losses. It admits that it had an investment in the lending platform. So again, Tether still holding on. Again, the reason this is important around Bitcoin, the loan was denominated in Bitcoin, so that in itself is one deal, but that value was $1 billion. Estimates putting that at $1 billion. The reason this is important is because some of these kinds of incestuous type of activities that we've talked about here on the show over the past few weeks, these start to really have market moves and pressures within the market, just like we had with Three Arrows Capital, just like we've had with Voyager. And for us to rebound on this right now, for Bitcoin to be up at around the 22 mark is pretty impressive right now. Just shows how stable this project is, when you look at Bitcoin overall. Where do you see Ethereum? Let's take a look on the short side for Ethereum.
Yeah, there's a big point that we're hitting, or at least getting close to hitting right now. What I want to show you too, it's very similar to Bitcoin. I mean, the main thing to look at is the split RSIs coming down. If you see right here, last time this happened, you just came down. What I want to do is draw a fib level from this local high right here. This gives us a good area, I believe, a good area to look at. So 1400 is a big area, but if you look right now, we're printing a red dot on market cipher in the 10-hour. These split RSIs are coming down. The last time this happened, you came right down. Now, history is probably not going to repeat exactly, but there is a high likelihood you could come right back down to 11, 20. What could happen since we're getting into the weekend? I could see some FOMO wicks up slightly above this area to knock out everybody trying to short right now. Then you kind of come down there. Ethereum on the high time frames, the weekly green dot confirms in 2 days. Historically, let's see the last time. What I'm more comparing it to is, and this is interesting too. So September 2018, this would be a case for a bottom in 2 months. As soon as it confirmed, just an amazing short entry all the way down to the bottom, basically. So you confirm that, and then you crash another 50% here. It'd bring us down to a bottom around 600, this fib level around here. My main prediction for Ethereum has been somewhere between like 3 to 700, probably 4 to 700 most likely.
For its dead bottom.
Yeah, for its dead bottom. So that's what I'm looking at right now.
All right, so with all that being said, guys, in terms of how this plays out from a macro side of things, there is a little bit of news out there, at least kind of positive, but at the same time, still understand that we still have a lot of macro pressures that really kind of guide the overall markets, especially from the traditional markets, which push in, obviously, the crypto markets. U.S. is adding 372,000 jobs as labor market stays robust, so that's a good thing in the essence of jobs, at least, that are available. My concern is still toward the end of the year that we'll continue to see layoffs, so those jobs will get sucked up by the new labor force. That's going to be a factor. Another thing that Will Clemente is kind of looking at is the real signal regarding Bitcoin adoption. Every price drawdown, and notice here, I want to show you this chart he does right here, and he's showing these drawdowns and how many people stay in the market. So here was the big drawdown. Here was kind of the bottom of people staying. Again, lifting up again, more people staying or padding their positions. And now here we are on another bottom where we hit that 17, and then here we are right now, which is pretty interesting overall in terms of people holding Bitcoin. So again, just that higher lows as we start to see this kind of develop over time of really kind of how the market might show some positions in terms of resiliency. Another thing right now, this was good for Ethereum, and that is that Ethereum's addresses of holding at least one Ethereum, over 1.5 million now. Addresses holding one Ethereum. That's pretty bullish.
I was surprised.
It's very bullish.
That is very bullish.
Yeah, I like it. Let's get to some questions out there. I know you guys are interested in kind of just what's happening over the weekend. Hopefully this is answered a little bit. Be on the lookout. Make sure if you are in a trade and you are playing this long, set your limits. Don't get caught in a fall. And if you are looking for 19 right now, if you're trying to play that game, be aware that we may not see that for a day or two. So be on the lookout for that. Let's go to Jay. ETH floor is high because no one can sell their staked ETH because of 2.0. Even though we've seen some exits on this right now.
That is an interesting point. I mean, I agree to a certain extent. Kind of good, I guess.
Stack up under 20K. Bill, I would agree for sure. Anything, that's our buy price is anything under the 20K mark. Once we see 19 numbers, that's basically when I'm going in. And looking for dollar cost averaging into a bag. Again, we're looking for major events to occur for that to happen because those are the times. It's the hardest time to trade is when there is so much volatility in the market and you feel like it isn't the bottom. That's the best time for me to see and take those. When it was going down to 17 a couple of weeks ago, that was the thing. We were trying to figure out, was this going to continue to fall? And every $1,000 we were grabbing up some more Bitcoin. So very cool one. Kim, Paul, can you cover Tether? We are going to do a breakdown on Tether and on stablecoins. I'm trying to put this together for next week. There's been a lot of FUD on USDC, and obviously with Tether has been FUD for the last several years. So we want to break that down, kind of give you guys an update on that. Are you holding AMP? Do you think anything of buy? Do you trade in AMP at all?
Oh, it's been a while for AMP. You know, I mean, my main point on most altcoins is they will continue to bleed against Bitcoin. I mean, if you like what you see in the charts short term, you know, for a swing trade or a day trade, but other than that, there's probably no reason to be buying AMP long term right now.
Let's go here. Miners sell a lot on OTC, over the counter. Celsius will be locked for a while. That's an interesting a point, because I think you're right with the situation where, because you get a lot of miners that are really getting near a position where they have to sell to keep operations going, and at the same time you've got Celsius paying back loans, trying to clear Bitcoin, which will open up assets for them to possibly better their balance sheet, maybe still come out of this. What's interesting to me is that you've got Celsius, who has not claimed and filed bankruptcy, versus Voyager, which I think was pushed into bankruptcy by their board. Obviously, as a publicly traded company, you just don't have as much opportunity there. So it's going to be interesting how this plays out.
Celsius is very, I don't know where they're getting this money from, but
where's it coming from?
That's, you know, there's a lot of questions here.
Well, once you free up an asset, it's coming back into the balance sheet. So they could sell it maybe for the value that is greater than what they accrued it at. Could that's possible to be possibly repadding that balance sheet, then being able to pay off the next note, which could be another stair step down if it was Bitcoin or wrap Bitcoin in some cases.
So will we see withdrawals?
Yeah, well,
tough.
And I'm still betting on that as a soft no right now.
Yeah,
a soft no. All right, let's cover some more here. Digital Dan down 90% since November. Yes, 25% of the assets are trapped on Voyager, on the verge of destruction. Again, you know, Voyager's pulling a little bit of shenanigans. Today they reported, there's a report now, they're starting to adjust their position on their website of the terms that were used for FDIC insurance. You guys probably saw our video on this. We really kind of called them out, and you know, listen, it's a bad situation with Voyager that's happening right now. The question will be is how this holds out, and whether or not there is any repayment of the U.S. dollar side of things for Voyager account holders, much less the ones that are holding assets in there in terms of cryptocurrency. Could Celsius come back since we're so young and short-term memory? I don't know. Do you think, would you put money back in Celsius if they came back and said, hey, Evan, you can draw your money out, no questions asked, we're out. here, if you want to come back in down the road, come on in.
Would I put more money in
Would
that?
you go in?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I think they would have to get acquired by somebody, which could happen if it does look better. Then that would probably be the main path. But no, I would probably be taking the little money I have in there out.
Yeah.
If there's a possibility of which.
All right. Line Ways coming in and saying, listen, we're going to see some fall, and that is going to happen because of Mt. Gox. Bitcoin, again, back to that point of selling a $300 Bitcoin at 21,000, 22,000. That's like a payday.
Well, the thing is,
right
do these people still have their passwords and everything? You know what I mean?
Well, a lot of that's going to be dropping into wallets either that are still there or dropping into wallets that are completely abandoned. That's my question, is how much of that goes into wallets that have been completely abandoned, people that have given up, lost it, was on a hard drive. Remember, this was acquired back in the days of, you know, when we were still driving horse and buggies.
Yeah, I was probably 18. I was 18 years old with that. I had Bitcoin back then. I think I had it on Circle.com. I don't know, does anybody remember buying it on there? Circle.com?
That's
where
crazy.
I used to buy it.
All right. Yeah. If I had Bitcoin for 500 and financially screwed, I would definitely sell some. So let's say 20% Mt. Gox. I still think it's going to be a certain percentage that is lost to the blockchain in general. And I like it. I like it, Karate. There we go. Mt. Gox and nothing burger. And may be the case again.
It's so hard to say with that, but thinking about it more now, I feel like the percentage of people that actually have their passwords and actually still remember it, not too high.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, listen up. We are going to be, of course, live streaming a ton more. As you guys know, we're covering a lot more. I want to jump to the poll real quick and find out which one you guys think is going to happen. Bitcoin to 24 or 9. Woo, the audience is split on this one.
Yeah.
This is tight, but everybody's a little bit more bearish here, Evan. They're not drinking the Kool-Aid.
It's a tough, you know, I would kind of agree with the audience a little bit. Although 24 is a high possibility. Maybe, you know, it'd probably be get up real close to 24, 23 or something, then go to
23.7, 23.8. Yeah, we'll see how that goes over the weekend. Listen, safe trading out there for you guys. If you want to tune in over here on the YouTube channel and you're tired of listening to the podcast side of things, it's really easy. Just search Paul Barron Network. You'll find us over here. Hit like and subscribe. That's going to get you into the show. You'll get a chance to see Evan's charts, a lot of our breakdowns, many of our live streams. All you have to do is subscribe, hit the bell. You'll get notified of stuff like that. If you want to reach me, it's out on Twitter, @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.